Hey guys, super quickly before we start this video, I just want to tell you about Glasswire. So it's a network monitoring software, really clean, got really good reviews. I do actually quite like it. So it just lets you understand what's going on with your networking. You can see if any funny business is going on, like in terms of malware. And if you got servers, it will help you monitor them also. So if you're at all interested, I'll leave a link down in the description and you can use coupon code TechShowdown, you know, the name of the channel, to get 10% off. So go check it out if you're interested. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tech Showdown. My name is Kevin, this is my co-host Eddie, and today we're checking out a CPU cooler. We haven't done one of these for a little while, and this one is the Deepcool Iceblade Pro V2 or version 2.0. So this is quite cool. This is sort of aimed at the more value for money end of the CPU cooler market, so I thought I would check it out. So let's jump in then. Here it is in all its glory. For you guys. There we go. So let's talk about the specs first with this guy. So it's coming with 4 8mm heat pipes, which is, you know, pretty good. It has their core touch technology, which from what I've gathered, it just means that there's the copper is touching the CPU, so that's quite cool. It has their big aluminium heat sink on here, which is, you know, fairly dense. Pretty impressed with it. It's, you know, pretty good. It's coming with a 120mm PWM fan. The fan also lights up with blue LEDs, which looks quite nice. And it's coming with extra clips if you want to add another fan. You will be able to switch this one out if you don't like this particular fan, or you're wanting, you know, to maybe upgrade it to an NF F12 or something like that. If you really wanted to, you should be able to switch it out by the way that the clips work. And it fits most of the, you know, modern sockets. I'm pretty sure it's going to fit every CPU any of you guys are running. But yeah, here's the list so you can tell. But I'm pretty sure it covers everybody's bases. So let's talk about the installation then. So with any air cooler, it's one of the more difficult things. So I've, you know, mounted so many coolers by now with all the things I've reviewed. And air coolers generally are harder to mount than the liquid coolers. Liquid coolers are harder in a different way, especially if you're running the fan sucking through the radiator, because then you got to sort of get the bolt sort of through the fans and then into the radiator. So getting it lined up can be quite difficult. However, actually getting the pump onto the CPU on a liquid cooler is very easy, whereas by comparison you can have a few difficulties with air coolers. However, this one wasn't too bad. However, it still was a little bit of a monkey at times. But yeah, it only took me about 40 minutes to mount it, 45 minutes. Now, another issue that air coolers generally will have is that if you mount it, sometimes if you have very tall RAM, it will hit the fan. This one wasn't too much of an issue. I have very tall RAM. However, it was very, very close to it. And if I had all the slots filled, then it probably wouldn't have fit. However, you can just mount the fan on the other side of the heatsink and I would have been okay. But I wanted it pushing through the heatsink because that is what the stock configuration is. However, if you had it sucking through, it would have been just fine, and then you would avoid the hitting the RAM type issues. So yeah, the only other thing I noticed with installation was that when I put it down on the CPU and I had my thermal paste on it, and then I pulled it back up to check it out, on the heat pipes here, only the middle two were actually touching the CPU. The outer two weren't directly touching it, so I thought that was a bit funny. Now, if you're running an Extreme Series CPU, say 5960X or something like that, because the CPU itself is so much physically larger than what I'm running, a 4770K, then it probably will touch all 4 heat pipes. So that's just something to consider there. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's jump into the performance testing and see what kind of performance this air cooler did. back. So my CPU is a 4770K at 4.4 gigahertz, and it is extremely hot. That was one of the fundamental sort of flaws with Haswell when it first came out, is it's extremely hot. That's pretty much why they released Devil's Canyon, was just to help bring those temperatures down. So yeah, from the 4770K to the 4790K, that was pretty much one of the main differences between them, is to try to fix the heat issue that was going on with Haswell. However, this does a pretty good job, keeping it, it went up to about 91 degrees in Intel Extreme 2 Utility, which is a little bit on the toasty side, but that's still decent for the type of overclock I'm running and for what this cooler does. What about noise then? So we see that performance-wise it does a fairly decent job, but what about noise? So with your casual use, just browsing web, doing normal kind of like computery type stuff, it's going to be completely silent. This fan is quite good in that aspect. However, when you start gaming, you will hear it ramp up a bit. Now, it's nothing horrendous, but I would say, personally, from my experience, it is above average, slightly above average. So yeah, it does tend to get a little bit noisier. However, this is still easily drowned out by gaming and all of that fun stuff. But as always, I'll let you guys judge for yourself. So first is going to be it, on idle, just if you were doing sort of like casual stuff, and then after that will be the on load during gaming. So there you have it. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I thought it was a bit above average. However, you can decide for yourself what you make of it. But yeah, from having it in my rig and playing games with it for about a week, it was, pretty good. I don't have really any big complaints when it comes to noise, although maybe I would have liked it to be a tiny bit quieter when I was gaming. Which brings us now to the conclusion, and what do I make of the Deepcool Iceblade Pro V2.0 CPU cooler? So I think with the prices coming in at, which is $79 right now over at Playtech, now of course it's going to be different depending on where you live and where you shop, I think that's pretty good. I mean, you're paying about 80 bucks and you're getting a decent 120mm CPU cooler. So yeah, it's a pretty good cooler. It's not going to be for the people out there that are wanting to do some serious overclocking. However, for the user that has, say, a Skylake CPU, let's say a 6600K or something like that, and you're not wanting to overclock it to the moon, you're just wanting to slap on a decent CPU cooler on there, and overclock it to say 4.2, 4.3, 4.4. You should be able to get away with it with this particular cooler, and it shouldn't be getting too hot or anything like that. So that's where I put it. It's for the people out there that are looking to overclock their CPU, but they don't want to spend a heap of money on a CPU cooler, and they're not wanting to overclock to the absolute moon and back. They're just wanting to do sort of like a moderate overclock to their CPU, just to bring up that performance a little bit more and maybe take advantage of their Skylake processor. So that's who I would be recommending this CPU cooler to. Now, I thank you all for watching this video. Please subscribe to Tech Showdown if you haven't already, and like the video. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.